Good evening, dear past District Governor Christina, and I am honored and lucky to have you today with us. It's my pleasure to interview today a great person who dedicated her time and effort to help and to serve others, especially through the great organization that called Rotary. Our speaker today is past District Governor Christina from District 2452, and she will address and talk about an interesting topic, which is the Rotary Foundation new funding grants. Most welcome again, dear past District Governor Christina, and the floor is for you, please.
Past President Wael, it's my pleasure to be with you. You were one of my dear assistant governors in my year, and together we kickstarted a club that has a lot of ambition, Amman Metropolitan, and it is already looking ahead into a bright future.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for inviting me. It's an honor, as I said.
Thank you also.
And thank you for choosing this interesting subject, because we are now faced with a new reality where the Rotary Foundation funding is concerned in the global grants. And the issue comes from the success of the global grants and the usage of the World Fund reserves. And because of the COVID-19 epidemic this year, and the opportunity that the Rotary Foundation gave to clubs to start global grants without the minimum 30% international contribution, there has been a great surge to complete grants related to COVID, which was the purpose, of course, but that must have drained the World Fund. And therefore, the Rotary Foundation had to take a very serious and restrictive decision, which is that as of the 1st of July, grants that have not been submitted, grants that have not been locked, authorized by their district and submitted to the Rotary Foundation, will not be able to benefit from the 50% subsidy of the cash contributions that came from clubs and non-Rotarians. In other words, from the funds raised from the clubs. They will only be matching DDF. DDF, of course, is funded and, matched 1-to-1, which is good. But this is not something that was planned either by the districts or by the clubs themselves. And therefore, I foresee that there will be a relative downward curve right now of bigger grants. And the clubs that succeed to do any grants will go to the bare minimum at this very point, which is to bring in their own funding, the international funding, and depend only on what they can get from the DDF of districts. This means that clubs have to research very well which districts can give them DDF, so they can increase the funding that they get from DDF, which is matched 1-by-1, whereas, as we said, now their cash contributions are not matched anymore. This means that clubs of districts that do not have a huge DDF like ours, ours has a moderate 35 to 45,000 DDF per year, which means that we contribute around 70 to 100,000 to the annual fund. But there are districts that have 1 million. So we need to seek them out and find who these people are and convince them that our area, which is really in need of support, of financial support from other districts, can benefit from their contributions in all sorts of issues like Syrian refugees, like illiteracy, like economic development, like all the areas of focus. On the other hand, every club has to really understand that we have to increase our contribution to the annual fund. There are clubs that don't contribute at all. There are Rotarians that don't contribute at all. And yet they expect the Rotary Foundation to give them funding. That is an unfair, it's becoming more unfair, yes. It's becoming more unfair now where DDF is concerned. Previously, in our district, we would say that depending on the level of your contribution to the annual fund, you would get a higher or a lower or the lowest possible contribution from the DDF. But now, you either contribute to the annual fund or you don't get any DDF. That would have been my policy if I had the decision making in my hands. So it is to the benefit of the clubs to start contributing for a long-term planning into the annual fund. For example, if they're planning to do a project, a global grant, it is best to right now start aiming for this grant to happen in 3 years. So if they were planning to put into the project anything like $5,000, for example, it is best if they put that $5,000 into the annual fund today, so they can request it back from their governor and the DRFC in 3 years' time for their project. And that's how things should be working. That's how things will develop in the next few years, as long as there is inadequate World Fund to cover cash contributions.
A question,
yes.
Question, Past District Governor Christina. Why, as we are Rotarian, why we should contribute and donate for the Rotary Foundation?
Because the Rotary Foundation is our bank in a way. Let's call it our investment bank. It's where we deposit our own investments so that we can get them back later. It's where we will seek help. It's where we will be able to grow with our projects. Of course, if you have $5,000 to put in a project, you would get another 2.5 from the Rotary Foundation. If you put $5,000 in the annual fund, 2.5 of those $1,000 will go to your DDF, and the other 2.5 will go to the World Fund. Right? So if you really look at it, then you get as much as you've invested. That's how much you get back, in a way. Yes. But the benefits are far bigger because it puts you in this process of seeking out partners around the world. And it's the partners around the world. You shouldn't stop putting cash contributions in the projects. But for a certain period of time, which is unknown, that contribution would not be matched by the Rotary Foundation. Right? So we should go out to seek, as I said earlier, rich DDF districts who have raised a lot of money on one hand, and they're sitting on a lot of money because they feel that it's sort of a cash for a rainy day. But I think that's the aim of the Rotary Foundation also at this point in time, to get the districts that have a lot of DDF to go out and spend it. And they will spend it doing good to the world. And that's what the Rotary Foundation started out to be, a tool to do good to the world.
So what's your advice to encourage the Rotarian and the Rotary clubs for this situation now and for this time of period, especially in this difficult time?
Right. There are some areas in the world that have high donation profiles, and that is the United States. It could be Germany, which is a large country with a lot of clubs. It could be Korea, Taiwan, India. India has, in terms of contributions to the Rotary Foundation, instead of being a receiver, now it has turned around and it's a contributor. So they are donating more than they're getting back.
Oh.
So possibly they have some excess. Right? So there is a simple way if you want. I mean, we all have smartphones nowadays. So we can download the club locator on our smartphones. Right. And it allows you to search by country. You don't necessarily have to search by club. So go onto your smartphone and search for the countries that we hope and we feel would have a lot of DDF to dedicate. And there you will find the districts and the clubs that are related. So you can contact the district because the details of the governor, as well as the presidents and the secretaries, are written in the club locator, and it is for us to share. We have given these email addresses to be shared for Rotarian purpose among Rotarian people, where privacy issues are concerned. It's not a matter of doing mass emailing, but it's a matter of approaching one by one the districts that are of our interest, together with the clubs that seem to be of our interest, to create relationships and exchange subsidies for grants. I think that when the pandemic is over, we shall all rush out and start traveling again. And we are really proud Rotarians ourselves. And I wonder why most of us do not search for clubs in the places that we visit, just to drop in and have a nice meal and meet new people. There are countries in our district that have elevated this into an art. They have immense connections the world over, immense connections with the states. They are in touch with all their compatriots that have left the diaspora, as it is generally called. Jordanians have compatriots in Canada. You have compatriots in the United States. So why not to try get in touch with them? Why not try to find those Rotarians in those countries that could help you out and partner their clubs that are looking for areas that need development and need support. And what better than a Jordanian Rotarian in the United Kingdom, in Germany, in Canada, in the States, than to return the favor to their mother country by working alongside with fellow Rotarians from home.
Small question, dear past district Governor Christina.
Small and large, whatever you like.
Yes, please give us a short brief. What have done the Rotary Foundation to the world? How did the Rotary Foundation serve the world?
Right. The Rotary Foundation has brought down polio from 125 endemic countries and 350,000 incidents around the world back in 1988 to a handful of incidents in two countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. And if it had not been for the initiative of the Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation, there would not have been a global initiative for the for the ending to end polio. There would not have been a collaboration with the World Health Organization or UNICEF or the Bill and Gates Foundation. So it is the combined effort of the Rotarians, and it is the combined contributions of the Rotarians to the Rotary Foundation that have achieved this. That is one thing. Another thing is that right now we have around the world 5 peace centers where we offer scholarships. As we speak now, your fellow Jordanian Jerish Shaheen is interviewing hopeful peace fellows for the peace scholarships. And you remember that in the past you did this yourself.
Yes.
Right? So if it had not been for the contributions of the Rotary Foundation to the peace centers around the world, 2 of which offer a full year masters and the others offer summer courses, then we would not have been able to further peace in this way.
Right.
In this line, our district has given that little bit of help in memory of our 2 Jordanian past district governors, Mustafa Nasreddin and the great Usama Barghouti, whereby we initiated. Pardon?
I'm saying God bless their spirits.
Yes, and let's hope that they are looking after us from where they are sitting in their special place in the heavens.
They are.
Inshallah. And we started our own and unique district-based named fund in their memory, which in the first year reached $69,000.
It's by your effort. It's a great job for by your effort.
It's
Really.
immaterial. If people hadn't liked the idea, it would not have been successful. Let's say that you're trying to sell a product that people don't like. Maybe I was lucky. Maybe it was an inspiration item. But if there wasn't the help and the assistance of the Rotarians in the district, it would not have been successful.
Right.
So yes, it was my idea. I launched it, but it was embraced and it worked because Rotarians in our district wanted to contribute in the memory of our friends. And it went beyond because we also had contributions from a few friends beyond the district. All the earnings of the $69,000 that was raised then, and I believe that by now we should have reached around about $75,000.
Very good.
Right, with the contributions of the last 2 years. All the earnings that come from the endowment fund are then dedicated to the peace centers, which means that from the earnings of that little fund that we created, we are helping in bringing up and producing, if that is an acceptable expression, peace fellows. Then again, look at the global grants that have spawned in the last few years. Take the water project of Lebanon, which has exceeded $1.5 million with the combined effort of the Lebanese. This has brought extreme fame and extreme kudos to Rotary in their country. Since the water project, the Lebanese numbers of Rotarians have increased, whereas in other countries in the district where there is no global grant, serious global grant activity, you can see that the numbers are decreasing because there are no causes. Global grants of the Rotary Foundation create a solid cause with a substantial project. Of course, we can continue doing the smaller projects to fill smaller needs of $2,000, $3,000 here and there. But they are projects that leave only a temporary, help to the suffering, right? To the areas of focus that are in need. Bigger projects leave a greater mark to our community. They have greater impact, if this helps solidify and make us bigger and make us more engaged.
Right.
Right. So it's what I call a vicious circle, a good vicious circle. Sorry, not just a vicious circle. Clubs that deteriorate and lose their orientation are in a negative vicious circle. Once you find a purpose and a cause that unites the club members and make you go out and do the funding, do a fundraiser, do this thing and do the other, find sources, find suppliers, find beneficiaries, it makes you feel worthwhile. And at the end of the day, you're looking at something that is big and it's unique and it's giving to the whole community. And you say, look at that. We worked to do this.
Very good. Right you are, dear Christina. It's always nice to talk with you, really. I'm also, I will say that I always learn from you a lot, and I'm one of your students, you know that. I am proud to interview you today here.
You know, it's not a matter of you learning from me. It's a matter of all of us learning from one another.
Right.
Because it is our experiences that make Rotary.
Right.
It is not only mine. Your experiences and your club members' experiences are equally important. They may be important in another spectrum and in another way. But we should all start considering that we are all the same.
We are adding experience by experience by experience.
Precisely. And it is what we have is the common experience of all of us together.
Right.
And that is what we should recognize and appreciate from every single Rotarian. If the level of responsibility that each Rotarian has is different, that doesn't make him a different Rotarian.
Right, you are. Dear Christina, do you like or do you wish to add anything before we end our interview today?
I would like to wish good luck to everyone. I believe you know that my phone number and my email are always dedicated to you. I have a Rotary dedicated email just to be sure that I receive my Rotary emails and I communicate with whoever wishes to discuss with me anything that I can be of help of. And I love your idea of establishing a coffee with Wael short interview.
Thank you, dear Christina. Thank you. You are always
all the best to everyone.
You are always kind, and thank you again. And I wish you a very fruitful life and always inspiring us as you always do. Thank you again.
Shukran kthir and salam alaikum.
Bye bye. Bye bye, Christina.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Take care. Bye.